guess, starting with Coming Home and The Deer Hunter and so on. And there is an extent to which, after the end of the Cold War, warfare, particularly catastrophic warfare, nuclear warfare, it didn't disappear as a public concern, but it receded. And actually, one of my major worries in the world today is, in fact, that we're not quite worried enough about war. Nuclear weapons are being modernized. We're getting more nuclear powers. We're developing, other forms of weapons of mass destruction. The norms against interstate conflict are declining, are eroding, and yet we don't have that much public outcry about it. I think right now there is a sort of shock about what's going on in Gaza, but the wider issues presented by war in the world simply don't have their place in the public imagination the way they did a generation ago.
And do you think politicians are betting on the fact that now we have so much information funneled to us that we become numb to these types of events?
I don't know, but I certainly agree with people who say that the relative decline of reality, the fact that there's very little distinction between fact and a belief anymore. If you believe something and you repeat it a lot of times and you have friends on the social media who say it, then for you it sort of becomes a fact. I think that phenomenon, which has been very widely studied and commented on, that clearly adds to polarization and atomization of society.